Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
And here we go.
Live from the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina, welcome to episode 77 of the Confirmed Epic Podcast, the official podcast of the epicreview.com, and proudly presented by the Geeks Worldwide Radio Network. I, of course, am one of your hosts, the real Brad Bell, and joining me today are some friends from work. As always, with me, I have
Andrew Stokes,
also known as
Andrew Stokes.
And today, we are welcoming for the first time a very special, I don't know if I'll say guest, maybe co-host. We'll see how much she likes podcasting with us. Miss Kate Mcall.
Hi, that's me.
Yes, and this is the first time I'm meeting Kate. And we literally met like 5 minutes ago, and I can already tell she's going to be a naturally good podcaster.
Oh, shucks.
Because I asked her a question about trailers, and she said she did enjoy them, unlike Andrew Stokes.
Tractor trailers, yeah, big fan she is.
Oh yeah. That one time I hit one, best experience of my life.
Well, I grew up in a trailer, guys, so take those shots lightly. But
That's a truck.
Let's go ahead and get into the show. But before we do, I just want to apologize for the technical difficulties that we experienced last week. I know there was some slight delays in that audio and whatnot. It was our first time back in a while, and the whole problem came from that I did not update my software, and I hadn't used that computer in a very long time. So we're actually recording live and in person for the first time in a long time, so we shouldn't have those same problems today. Also, I want to encourage you to go to tpublic.com/user/therealbradbell, and you can pick up a brand new werewolf pack tee. Pick that up, support the podcast. We'd greatly appreciate it.
As a what?
Werewolf pack tee.
Okay.
Werewolf? I know. Go ahead. Make fun. Timothy Belmont, I'm of course talking to you. Go to tpublic.com/user/therealbradbell right now. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. What have you guys been checking out this week?
Check checklist? Check. Double check checking of checklist? Check.
Kate, we'll start with you, and you have one of my favorite things from 2017 on your list. What are you talking about today?
I suppose Wonder Woman, which just blows my mind because I was unimpressed.
Really? Mm-hmm. Why were you not impressed?
Well, I mean, I'm sure part of it is that I'm not the biggest fan of DC. I'm a Marvel girl all the way through. But as far as strong female leads, I should really be supportive of this, but I thought the entire film was kind of cliched and very predictable. The faces you're making at me are great.
It was somewhat of a generic superhero origin film, especially in the third act. I will definitely agree with that.
I think the smartest thing they did was having Chris Pine be well, I'm guessing I can say plenty of spoilers, right?
Yeah, spoilers for this. Movie's been out since the summer.
Yeah. That they let him just die. Because then he doesn't have to come back for another one later.
You thought he was that bad?
That was probably a good career move for him.
Oh, man.
No, I think just having the opportunity to be in one thing and then be available for something else, I think that was smart on his part. I also thought it was kind of funny that even though she was supposed to be just a strong and powerful woman, they had to work really hard to make sure she was like hot, which she didn't need help with, but the whole scene of her coming up to go into no man's land with all the wind in her hair, it was a bit much. It was a little heavy-handed to me.
Yeah.
Well, you make a good argument for that. It's funny. I never, for some ladies, I can never classify them as hot. And I put Gal Gadot in that category. Okay. I can only classify her as beautiful. Okay. And those are two different things to me. I know that sounds odd. But she just has a look that to me will be timeless. Like, if it seems hot, just seems so temporary. Like it can fade away. Like its looks, its makeup, its weight. Well, she has beauty that is going to, I think, transcend age and personality. So I don't know if I would classify her as hot, but I'm sure there's plenty of guys and gals who would definitely classify her as hot. And it's funny you talk about that trench scene. That was one of my favorite scenes of 2017.
I do like the scene. So I watched when she watched it. I watched it again. So that was my second time watching it, and it definitely. I mean, obviously, I didn't like it as much as you did the first time watching it. But there were some cheesy like stuff I didn't notice the first time, like specifically the scene leading up to the no man's land, where it's like no man can cross this field and no man, and it's like wow, this is a little more like she said, heavy.
When we reviewed this, I actually said at least she did not say I'm no man and then cross it.
Yeah, it could have been much worse.
It didn't get that bad, but
Sure.
I definitely see. I mean, it was already established that was no man's land, and if you know anything about World War I mean, you knew that. But
I still liked it. I still think it's a good one.
I think the only reason they didn't is because Lord of the Rings beat them to the punch.
Yeah, how so?
Because she did literally say, "I am no man" before she killed the.
Oh, and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I thought I'm not a big
didn't
Lord
say
of the
the
Rings
line.
fan either. I respect Tolkien. I respect the franchise that's been established here. You can put that on a T-shirt, but I'm just not a big fan.
And we have at the store if you go right now.
No, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. It has been a while. I have not watched it since I saw it the original time in the theater, so it will be interesting to see how it holds up to a second viewing. I did buy it on 4K Blu-ray, and it's sitting in the shrink wrap still.
As you're trying to figure out your 4K problems.
Yeah, that's all been solved now.
Okay, what'd you do? Did you get the Xbox One S?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have the Sony 4K. I think it's like UBP X800 now. Much more superior picture, not as washed out. But I'm not going to dedicate any of my checking out to any 4K adventures. But gosh, I just can't believe that you. So what would you rate it on our rating scale if you had to?
I don't think you want me to.
No, I want you to. It's your opinion. You put it out there.
Probably just an eh.
What'd you give it, Andrew?
Good and a half.
Yeah, I gave it
an epic.
I confirmed epic for sure. Epic. Yeah, looking back, I probably would knock it down without watching again to a great and a half, just because of the third act villain problems. I think keeps it from being, I don't want to say a perfect movie. Yeah, but a really, really great superhero.
There's no such thing as a perfect movie, in my opinion. So
there is a few perfect movies like Empire Strikes Back, Jaws.
Empire Strikes Back ends on a cliffhanger. I don't consider that perfect.
Oh my god,
that's like the only thing I hate about that.
I think Raiders of the Lost Ark can be nitpicked for sure though, because if you really think about Raiders, and this has been talked about on many podcasts, Indy's kind of inconsequential to what's going to happen. Like everything that would have happened without Indy being there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to go through it now, but I mean, really look into that. It's true, and that kind of blew my mind.
Now, Brad, I gotta look into this.
No, it's not going to keep you up. It'll keep Jerry Barbecue 17 read up. But Andrew Stokes, what have you been checking out?
Well, in my typical fashion, I've been checking out the newest, hottest Netflix series, which this time is American Vandal. You've heard about this, correct?
Yeah, I have. Okay. I thought you were going to say Mindhunter, because that's the newest, hottest Netflix.
That might be next, because that's what people are talking about now. You've heard of American Vandal, right, Kate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But neither one of you have seen it?
Nope.
It didn't look like something that would pique my interest.
It really was just one of these things that was on there, and then people were just speaking highly of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to check this out, and I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed it. It's kind of... I wasn't sure what it was going to be going into it. And the whole premise is basically that somebody has drawn graffiti on the faculty's cars at this high school. And it's basically like this kind of documentary about finding out who did it. But of course, it's not a real incident. It's a mockumentary. It's basically satire of like these shows, like Making a Murderer and
it's a riff on these
Serial,
crime dramas, right?
Things that I love. I love Serial. I love Serial. Making a Murderer, I watched as well. And it's just really well done. At first, you're like, oh, I think this is going to be like some sort of like drama. And
Making a Murderer, that's a podcast, right?
Making a Murderer, no, is a Netflix series as well.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, Serial's the podcast.
My wife listens to some podcast about murder. I know that's very eerie for me. And she started listening to it once she was pregnant, when she really got into it. So I'm like, we're watching Mindhunter. She's listening to this killer podcast. I can't remember the name of it.
It's called Black Widow Cases.
No, that's not it. There are a lot of stories. I listened to some of it. There are a lot of stories about women killing their significant others.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Pregnancy makes women crazy, right, Brad?
Yeah, it really does.
Well, all right. You can spend the night here if you ever feel in danger.
Wow.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so it's just a funny series. It's just, I mean, it's quick. I think it's like 8 episodes. Each one's about half an hour long. And if you're into those type of things, I think it does a really good job. It's just it's super funny sometimes. Like, just, you know, the things you see in these typical kind of crime shows, and to see that same thing but being you know, through the filter of basically the vandalism that was done was there was a bunch of penises drawn on cars. And so there's this...
If you're going to draw some, why not draw a penis?
So obviously it's like this big juvenile act, but the show, you know, takes it very seriously.
Reminds me of Superbad, though. Not Jonah Hill's... It was Jonah Hill's character who was obsessed with drawing penises. It's
kind of like if he got in trouble in high school, because it's not the same kind of humor. It's definitely a more subtle humor than that, because it's all kind of playing off the characters. Like there's this whole thing about like this guy and girl texting each other, and the girl said "hey" with 2 Y's, and what does that mean? You know what I mean? It's like typical kind of like high school stuff, but it's...
How long are the episodes?
Like half an hour each, yeah. So it's really not long. It's worth checking out. I enjoyed it.
So you're finished with the series already?
Yeah, I finished it.
10 episodes?
I think it was 8.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to get done with Mindhunter before Punisher comes out, because I plan on watching it.
Okay. Even
though I'm not the biggest John Bernthal fan.
Yeah.
You know, I did hear that he said Kevin Spacey was an absolute dick on the set of Baby Driver, which was hilarious for him to throw Spacey under the bus, and he would have never said anything like a month and a half ago. But I mean, Kevin Spacey, now. It is relevant. He did that reputation had been out there, but I don't want to talk about that stuff. I really don't. Okay. We kind of spent some time on it last week. Mm-hmm. And of course, we do not condone those actions. So let's make that clear on this podcast. Despite what
was edited out of last week's podcast.
Yeah, it's maybe a misspeak, but I actually checked out the 2015 Oscar. I don't know if it was nominated for Best Picture, but it was nominated and won for Best Visual Effects, which was impressive because it was like a $25-30 million budget, I believe. This was the Alex Garland directed film Ex Machina. Mm-hmm. And I come away from this movie liking Star Wars The Force Awakens a little less, because Domhnall Gleeson and Oscar Isaacs, who are both in Force Awakens as Poe and what's Domhnall Gleeson's name? Oh my gosh, Hux, General Hux in Force Awakens. Those characters pale in comparison to who they are in Ex Machina.
Sure.
So I'm not going to go through the whole plot, but it's about the story of a guy who basically has a search engine like Google, and somebody who works for him is flown to his private island where he's going to test this newly minted AI, artificial intelligence, female named Ava. And the visual effects in this movie are great. The questions it brings up are great. It's a very methodical film. It meanders a little bit, but at the same time, the payoff is worth it. It has one of those holy shit kind of endings that I'm not going to spoil here. But I can't believe I missed this movie. Yeah. I really can't. And Andrew, you saw this, right?
Yeah.
Did you see it when it came out?
Not in theaters. I think I rented it when it came out, though.
What do you recall the film? I mean, what do you think about it?
I mean, yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I wish I hadn't missed it.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of those that kind of came and went quickly, and then the buzz kind of picked up after it was gone. Like, I don't even know if it was shown around here or not.
So many people didn't see this film till after it won the Best Visual Effects Oscar.
Right.
And I know on the Slash Filmcast, like, that's when they reviewed it, was after that. But I mean, Domhnall Gleeson, he's good. Of course, he's in the Harry Potter movies, and he was in some time travel love story too that I can't recall the name of the film.
That's what it's called, Time Travel Love Story.
Yeah, that's it. That sounds right. Anyway, but Oscar Isaacs, I mean, Poe Dameron is kind of at least in Force Awakens, he was almost a nothing character.
Sure.
He was generic X-Wing, good-looking guy, but in this movie, he chews the scenery, but not too much. I mean, he is a great actor.
The big difference is, like you just said, I mean, these guys are like main characters in Ex Machina, and there's less characters in Ex Machina by a long stretch.
Oh yeah, there's only like 3 main characters.
Right.
Kate, have you seen this film?
I have. I watched it when it came on Netflix.
Really? What do you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. I don't think it was what I was anticipating it being, but I have a slight background in psychology, so I really enjoyed seeing you know, the relationship that was building and how just the questions that would come up in that situation.
What did they call it? Was it a Turing or Turing test?
It's a Turing test.
Turing test, okay, which tests artificial intelligence.
Right.
And just the questions that were asked, and like Kate was saying, the relationship that was developed, it's not what you're expecting. Like if you're expecting some dystopian science fiction film, definitely, you know, probably going to be a little disappointed. But if you're expecting a good character drama commentary on AI and how we depend on technology so much today, it's an epic film. I loved it. Okay, I think that about does it for what we've been checking out this week. Let's go ahead and get into a few epic news items. We do have some truly epic news this week indeed from Disney and Lucasfilm, and that is that Rian Johnson has been given the keys to the kingdom to direct at least the first one and to write as a whole a brand new Star Wars trilogy that's going to take place outside of the Skywalker saga. Supposed to take place outside of the main story. Kate, let's start with you. What was your initial reaction when you heard this news from Lucasfilm?
A bit mixed. I really like the concept of doing something additional. They've got this huge mythology they've built up that they could really do something with. But really also just kind of concerned, because a lot of the things I hear, especially from other people, is just that it's getting played out. So I'm hoping the whole concept of the Force can continue into something that still holds intrigue instead of just being more of the same.
The question is, how big of a role will the Force play in this? This got me more excited than anything since I heard that they were going to continue the Skywalker saga, and hearing about Disney buying Lucasfilm, and we're getting a new Star Wars trilogy. I mean, obviously, that was a day in and of itself that in Star Wars fandom is going to be, you know, hard pressed to ever be topped.
A day that will live in infamy.
That's true. But the one thing that a lot of Star Wars fans say, and a lot of Star Wars podcasts say, is it's the biggest galaxy that feels super small.
Yeah.
Because it revolves, or everything's pretty much revolved around one family. And I love that family. I mean, it's been an epic journey and story, but it's time to make it feel like this vast and massive galaxy that it is. And I think this is a step in the right direction. Obviously, they must really like what Rian Johnson did. Some people say Ryan, some people say Rian.
What does he say?
I think he says Rian, so I'll call him Rian Johnson. But it's going to be awesome to see what he does with Last Jedi, because obviously they're impressed with what he did. They wouldn't put this much faith, this much trust in him.
Or he's listening very well to what they're saying.
Do this, do that. But it's going to be brand new characters, brand new planets. It's going to... They talked about how it would deal in Star Wars lore. They mentioned that in the press release, and I'm just wondering what that will mean. Does that mean we'll get some stuff from Legends or Knights of the Old Republic or something of that nature, or will it just be completely just blank slate, fresh? What would you guys rather see? Would you like to see them pull from Legends or KOTOR or any of that stuff?
I think that's going to depend a little bit on how you define Legends. Does that include not just Rebel and, what was it, Clone Wars? But does that include like the books and the comics? Is that everything?
Legends is basically anything that is not canon anymore, that was canon at some point.
Okay.
So like Rebels and Clone Wars, like the cartoons are canon. Currently. And the books and comics that are coming out now are canon, with I think a few exceptions, like the kids comic or something like that.
And the Freemaker Adventures or whatever.
Yeah, so Legends is basically anything out there prior that was part of this expanded universe. I guess Thrawn is canon now or whatever, but
yeah, but not the way he was from his original backstory.
I still don't even really know who he is. I just know the name. General Thrawn.
Grand Admiral Thrawn. Get it right.
Wow.
Andrew.
I didn't mean to disrespect the office.
I just wonder if they're gonna like pull from maybe something like Darth Bane, which I love, Darth Plagueis, which I love. I think Darth Plagueis is a little too close to this trilogy, dealing directly with the Emperor's master or whatever. Kate did not like that, I don't think.
No, it's not that. It's a dumb meme that I see all the time. So
About Plagueis? About Snoke being Plagueis?
No, about have you ever heard the story of Plagueis the Wise or whatever it is?
One of the best moments from the
Go
prequel
online,
trilogy.
Brad. Go online. Yeah.
So what do you think about this, Andrew?
I'm disappointed, man. I was really looking forward to seeing, like Yoda's childhood and
we'll probably still get that.
teenage years. No, I mean, I think I've been speaking about for a while that they need to do something different. Like if again, my outlook on movies are, if it's good, it's good. If they make a movie about, child Yoda and it's a good movie, cool. But I'm ready to see something new. So while the Han Solo film, I hope it's good, I want to see something different and something new and something that explores a part of this universe we've never seen. Now, for me, that could be a lot of this expanded universe, Knights of the Old Republic, if they wanted to adapt that in some capacity, because I haven't played those games. I'm not familiar with a lot of the Legend stuff. So that would be like fresh for me, and it would be stuff that's already supposed to have been established to have been good. You know what I mean? At least people say it's good. So that would give me, I guess, a little more confidence that, okay, cool, this is a thing that everybody says is good. This sounds neat. But if they want to do something completely new, that's also good. Like,
that will kind of be
a
a mix,
be good or not, but
a mixed bag as well. If you do pull from like Knights of the Old Republic, because you'll have those diehard fans that will say, "Well, that's not how it happened in the game," or the Darth Revan novels or whatever. So that's a double-edged lightsaber right there.
Double-edged, not for me though. Again, so
yeah.
See, no, I would agree with that, because I have difficulty thinking of a movie that was based off of a video game, which I know you could argue the game is clearly based off of the movie series and the books, but one that has been adapted well in film. And I guess I can see what you're saying. I can think of people myself that if they were to go through a story arc with Darth Revan, it wouldn't live up to their expectations, because as far as they were concerned, that's who they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's kind of like Thrawn, too. I mean, he was such a big character in Legends, and you have some people who just do not like him in Rebels because they were just so... It's not that they changed him all that much, it's just his arc has been changed.
His arc.
Arc.
Cool.
Yeah.
I thought you said art. Sorry.
No. His arc.
Cool.
Character arc has been changed. But I'm excited because we don't know what to expect. And I know with these new sequel trilogy movies, we haven't known what to expect either, but we still kind of do, right? And what I mean by that is we expect Rey to be somebody's daughter that's important in the Star Wars mythos.
I hope she wasn't.
Well, I hope they subvert expectations, and that's not the truth, right? I hope, and maybe that's what Rian Johnson does, and maybe that's why they chose him for this brand new thing, because they're like, wow, look what he did with these characters, took them out. And they say this movie, and if this thing ends up being like Empire Strikes Back, I'm going to be pissed, not because it's like Empire Strikes Back, but because...
I hope it's as good as
I want it to be the quality of Empire. I'm talking about, the story arc as Force Awakens mirrored New Hope. But they said this is different from any other Star Wars film ever made, and Rian Johnson really went outside the box. And I hope that's the case. I don't want to watch a rehash again. I mean, Force Awakens, you can nitpick that movie. I enjoyed that movie a lot, especially at the time. The only thing I didn't like was the trench run, because it was less superior than the one that came in A New Hope by a long shot.
Again, I feel like Force Awakens wasn't just A New Hope redone. I feel like it was the entire first trilogy redone almost. And because there's definitely elements of Empire and Jedi in that movie. So I'm hoping that, it's all we're going to get a whole new stuff in Last Jedi.
Speaking of whole new stuff, we're going to get more new Star Wars in the form of Disney's live-action Star Wars TV show that Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, announced. I can't get any more official of that. He announced it not only publicly, but to the board of directors at Disney. And this is going to be introduced on their brand new streaming platform that's going to launch, they say, toward the end of 2019. I'm wondering, how these Star Wars movies have been coming out in December. What if they skip 2019 and they just leave that as here's the 10 episodes to the live-action TV series?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about streaming services starting to add up here in the past before.
Yeah.
But what was your reaction when you heard Star Wars live-action TV show? Is it too much, Kate?
I thought it was maybe too soon.
Really?
Or not the best timing. Well, you think about it. what is it? ABC, CBS?
CBS.
CBS, okay. So they came out with the Star Trek series for their
CBS
whatever
All
it's
Access.
called. Yeah.
Discovery,
Wow, okay,
right?
thanks.
You're welcome. I've looked into it.
Yeah, Discovery.
You have it?
I don't have it
Okay.
now.
See, and I can't say if it's good or not because I figured I'm not going to pay for that myself. So,
Yeah.
And then of course you've got that, pardon if I offend anybody, but that horrible show that Seth MacFarlane put out, The Orville.
Yeah.
I
haven't watched it, but I've heard.
Well, I saw most of an episode, and maybe that's not enough to base on, but I would almost be concerned that this is just going to be another one of those. I don't know if I want a live action. You can't show all of the cool things as well because you have to bring in CG or...
I don't think Disney's worried about the money. They're going to spend it unless nobody subscribes to this streaming platform.
Is it supposed to like tie into the larger Star Wars universe? Like these
There's
Marvel
so many
series?
rumors. We don't know. They haven't
Okay.
confirmed anything. Obviously,
I'm just waiting for like some like First Order stormtroopers to be referring to the event and stuff like they do in the Marvel series.
I hope it's not like that. It needs to be more consequential than that. But how consequential?
Or just be its
can
own
you be?
thing. Or just be its own thing.
Well, George Lucas had 50 scripts that he actually worked on with Dave Filoni, who is the showrunner for Rebels and was for Clone Wars as well. I think George Lucas did the first season, then he brought Dave Filoni on. I mean, nobody knows more about Star Wars than Dave Filoni other than Lucas himself. So the rumor is that he's going to be brought on to be showrunner of this new live-action Star Wars series.
And they're going to ignore him at every turn.
No, but he worked on Lucas, and he was, he shown these scripts, the early scripts for the first couple episodes for a show called Star Wars Underground. That was a 50-episode live-action show that Lucas was working on in like 93, like right before he started filming the prequel trilogy. So I'm wondering if they go with that. I mean, maybe they take those and they tweak those. And I mean, here's what I would like to see. I want to see a Dr. Aphra TV show. I would love to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
I have no idea who that is.
I was about to say, I want to be that awful person who asks what you're talking about.
It's okay. Dr. Aphra is a character, a female character who was launched in the Darth Vader solo comic book series by Kieran Gillen. Yeah, the new one. Well, there's two of them. She was launched in the original one.
Okay.
So this was the one that took place between, what was it? I think it was between New Hope and Empire.
Okay.
And I'm really excited about if that could happen because she is kind of like Indiana Jones in the Star Wars universe, and we know that exploration and like Indiana Jones is under the Lucasfilm umbrella, and I just think to have again strong female character, but one that is a complete not just badass, but she's not really a bad guy, but she's not a good guy either. She is in the gray area. She's always
just like Jane Erso.
Jen Erso. No, she's a little bit more of a villainous character than Jen Erso. She's a little bit more willing to do whatever will make her the most money as far.
Okay, she's like Han Solo.
She's a lot like Han Solo. If Han Solo would have met Darth Vader before he would have met Luke Skywalker, that would be the best way to put it. And I'd like to see like an 8-episode arc of that, and then maybe this becomes an anthology series instead of anthology. Would you like that?
I would love that.
That would be cool too if they could explore. Would you like it to be an anthology series in the way that American Horror Story is, where it's every season's different?
Yep, that's exactly what I'd like. I'd like to see us follow some traders. I'd like to see us follow some Twi'lek sex slaves. I'd like to
some spice miners.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah. But I would love to see that. I'd like to see different aspects where maybe the focus of this season isn't a Force user, or this one's not some guy who owns a really cool spaceship, or I'd love to see an anthology.
That sounds cool.
I think that's a good direction to go.
I'm so on the. I mean, they announce it. I'm like, cool, and then immediately forget about it. Basically.
Speaking of things we want to forget about, let's move on to Sony's confirmation that they're making a film of one of Andrew's favorite Spider-Man characters, Morbius, the living vampire.
Is that one of my favorite characters?
No.
Okay.
I actually liked him in the 90s animation.
Sure,
show.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He was,
I don't dislike him. I'm just not. I don't think I have a Morbius poster on my wall or anything.
No, he's not a terrible character.
No,
Let's get that
yeah.
straight. I mean,
Sure.
like if they said he was going to be in a Spider-Man movie, I would be like, okay, this is cool. This is a different direction.
Yeah.
But Morbius, the living vampire, as the title character in a $100 million film makes no sense to me.
So I was just thinking back to his wonderful palm suckers from the 90s show because they couldn't show blood or whatever.
They couldn't even
They called it plasma.
That's
Yep.
right.
That's right.
They couldn't say blood either.
I actually did like Morbius in the 90s cartoon.
I did too.
Even though he was just totally ridiculous. I do think if they were to go based on some of the, I guess, character relationships that happened in the 90s, it would make sense in the universe they're trying to build. Because, Michael Morbius and Felicia Hardy, who is Black Cat, had a relationship in that. And she was able to help bring him back to being just a scientist. They worked together to get Peter's blood so that he could control everything. So, I mean, if they're building that universe, it would make sense. But Sony's really let me down in the past.
Yeah.
They've let a lot of people down, Kate.
So disappointing.
I still don't understand what this Spider-Man-less Spider-Man verse is going to be like.
Let's call it a Spider-Verse at this point.
Okay.
With no spiders.
Right.
Oh.
So, I mean, I'll wait and
You know
pass
what it's
judgment
gonna-
until
you-
they actually pull something out. But, I mean, I'm not excited for any of these ideas because they sound weird and they don't have a good track record with doing this kind of stuff. So,
You know what they're thinking? I would be willing to bet is they have only loaned Spider-Man out to Disney for so long.
right, exactly.
Through Infinity War and the next Avengers movie after that. And he's getting his own Spider-Man trilogy at Disney. So by the
I
time...
thought he was only getting the 2 Spider-Man movies with Homecoming 2 and that was it.
Oh, I thought it was a trilogy. Either way, it's still the same point that I think in the back of their heads are like, all right, they've built Spider-Man up.
God.
Now we're going to take Tom Holland. And if he signed a contract to this, they hold his feet to the fire. They're going to take Tom Holland and pigeonhole him into their Sony Spider-Verse.
This is my worst fear.
I'm going to need you to be way less depressing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Man, here's my even bigger fear. So remember the Sinister Six movie? What if they do these 6 solo movies and then he's brought back in I know Morbius wasn't in the Sinister Six.
Insidious.
He wasn't. Yeah, but maybe they want to do something different like that, right? And that's when they pull Spider-Man in.
Oh, stop it. Because I loved what they did with the Vulture.
Me too.
I thought that
we
was
did too.
fantastic. I was finally happy with a Spider-Man movie. I've been disappointed for way too long.
You didn't like the older ones either.
I liked the very first one, and there were aspects. Yeah, shut up. I did.
You don't like Spider-Man 2?
Oh, I
With
do.
Doc Ock?
But I
Okay.
just like everybody else in the world, the whole Venom,
Oh,
3 villains at a time.
Have
It was
you told her
just
that story?
No.
Okay.
okay. Anyway, the whole thing about that is just very disappointing to me, and I'm super excited about the idea of doing a Sinister Six film and having them done right. With the Andrew Garfield ones when they brought in the Rhino, I hated that. I hated that. It was painful to me.
It was bad.
So when I saw how well they did the Vulture, I thought, oh man, I really do like all these Spider-Man villains. They're, corny and animal themed, but they're good.
It was one of the MCU's best villains in general, I think, let alone just Spider-Man.
So for Sony to swoop in and just, crap on it, I'm just,
And that was Paul Giamatti as the Rhino. They had a decent actor. It was just
they had
trash.
a good actor. I don't mind that version of the Rhino. That's like the ultimate version of the Rhino.
No.
But it's just he was just such a throwaway character. It was odd.
I want to see Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin go up against this Spider-Man
Yes, that's
when
what I
he's a
want.
little older. Not yet.
no.
I would really like to see that. But I want to talk about this later when we do the Thor Ragnarok review. But this has been as much maligned as the Marvel villains have been.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a good year for not just Marvel. Every year is a good year for Marvel. But it's been a good year for Marvel villains.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about Vulture, Ego the Living Planet, and who the hell is Hela? We're finally going to answer that question on the podcast today. Okay, so let's keep it with superheroes. Let's go from Sony to Fox and talk about the newly released Deadpool trailer for Deadpool 2.
Hello there. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. Let's just dive right in and run all the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me. I have my regular old canvas here, wet and ready to go. Now, let's grab our trusty 2-inch brush here. Whack that off real good. Just beat it like it owes you money. We're gonna get a little dab of our yellow snow here. We're gonna mix that with just another little dab of our Betty White. Now, let's just dance in a happy little sky. Now remember, this is your world. You get to make and break the rules here. Sweet baby Jesus. Wish I could jump in there and roll around in all that cascading white powder. Yeah, just get high on all of life's splendor. God, I love cocaine. So much. Holy fuck knuckles, I am high as a kite right now. Okay, let's paint in a few little happy trees there. Nothing wrong with making friends with trees. Now, what you don't want to do is eat these paints. Trust me on this one. All right, I'm gonna whack off again. That's right. That feels good. Would you look at that? It seems like we have ourselves a finished painting. So from our family to yours, keep your pants dry, your dreams wet, and remember, hugs not drugs.
One of the most surprise films of the past, I would say, 5 years was Deadpool. Okay. R-rated, raunchy, superhero, action/comedy. People have been on the edge of their seat waiting for this trailer. Now, we saw some Deadpool in Logan when that movie came out. They kind of teased it a little bit. Remember the whole phone booth thing? I will say that I love the Deadpool movie, but I'm just not a huge fan of the character in general.
Sure. So
it's hard for me to get super stoked about it like somebody who loves Deadpool actually would. Mm-hmm. And now if it was Wolverine, I would, you know this. But, yeah. I mean, so what was your impressions of this? I mean, it is a trailer.
It's a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
With the Bob Ross stuff coming before that and a lot of... Basically, it's more of a sizzle reel with some comedy in there.
Yeah, sure. I loved it, personally. I thought it was hilarious. It makes me... It's like the perfect trailer. It's what a trailer should be, in my opinion. It makes me want to see this...
The Last Jedi trailer is a perfect trailer, which you have not seen. The second Last Jedi trailer, I think.
I haven't seen either one.
Not the one in theaters, because I don't care if you covered your eyes and plugged your ears. You could still hear it.
I could still hear it. I'm in theaters before Thor Ragnarok.
Thor, yeah, they played it at my showing too.
Yeah, I'm covering my ears and then looking down the floor. Good times, but I can still hear.
You're ridiculous, man.
Whatever. Maybe next time I'll leave the theater. I mean, I could hear some things, but not enough. I was trying to hum to myself, but I was like, I already know I'm looking like a crazy person. I don't want to attract attention to myself as well. I'm just trying to look cool and everything. Watching this Marvel movie.
You failed.
Okay, back to Deadpool.
But to me, this is the perfect kind of trailer because it makes me want to see this movie, and it doesn't really show anything from the movie. It shows me a few action scenes. I'm like, okay, there's Josh Brolin as Cable. You know what I mean? There's that, the blind granny character that I like from the first one. You know what I mean? It shows me that, the stuff I like from the first one's coming back. There's new stuff for me to be excited about, but I don't really know or have seen barely anything from this movie. While the trailer's fantastic.
Stuff. I like the end cap with Thanksgiving. I thought that was good. Kate, what'd you think of it? Are you a Deadpool fan in general?
Not like Die Hard or anything. I enjoyed the first movie. I thought it was fun. Honestly, my favorite part about the trailer was just the little portrait of Stan Lee in his painting.
I missed that.
It's up in the right top hand corner.
I gotta rewatch it.
over the dining room table in the Thanksgiving scene.
But I would agree. I mean, it just had little elements.
It didn't get me hyped for the movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it didn't detract from me wanting to see the film either.
Sure. I mean, it makes me... It just reminds you, hey, this is coming, and this is our humor, and this is funny. All the different... I mean, as somebody who's watched, like, The Joy of Painting, you know, it was a funny little parody, and then, like, all the different colors, you know, like box office gold and that kind of stuff. It was pretty... I just thought the whole thing was well done.
He's blowing up. Like, I saw a Target end cap dedicated to him
Really?
with the Bob Ross Funko Pop. I mean, I'm a high school teacher. I see students at work wearing Bob Ross t-shirts.
That's funny. There's a Bob Ross board game coming out.
Why is he blowing up all of a sudden, guys? Can somebody explain this to me?
They had, if I recall, like a big Twitch marathon of like all of his episodes or something, and then they've like a lot, if not all of his show has been put on Netflix or something.
Oh, okay.
I've watched some of it. It's nice to... I mean, I used to watch
Unwind at the end of the day.
I used to watch as a kid. I used to love that show. And then I sometimes if I can't fall asleep, I might put on The Joy of Painting and just go to bed. And it's good times. Don't judge me.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a nice play. It's like, you know, ASMR or whatever, right? It's like this nice, like, he has like this nice, pleasing way of talking, and like the paintbrush just lightly tapping the canvas, and that's okay. Here we go now. And it's like, you know.
Is he dead?
Yes.
Okay. When did he die?
I don't recall, but it's been a while.
Okay. All right. So
just to bring it down.
Yeah, John Wayne's dead too, guys. He died in like 1992. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh
I was like watching the Alamo recently.
Yeah.
And I was the original one, of course. It's got John Wayne in it. I was like, man, you know, he's been dead since 1991. Wow.
There was somebody this year I found out was deceased, and I didn't know. Don't recall who though. Good story. Good story.
Let's stay with film. Let's kind of move it out of the superhero realm here.
Boo.
Quentin Tarantino has 2 more films left to do. He has had all.
I thought he was already like. I thought he was only doing 9.
He said it's 10 now.
It's 10 now.
So
okay.
he keeps popping it up.
Okay, I'm retired, guys. Okay.
So his 10 filmography, I guess, is what it is now, and he is going to be doing a movie set in 1969 California.
Summer of Love.
Yeah, Summer of Love. And that year, a lot of people have been like, this is such a fascinating year with all the assassinations. They got that confused with 1968 because Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all those guys were killed and assassinated in 1968. So now that's kind of, America kind of loses its innocence there, and the transition comes then. But yeah. I've just heard that, you know, misspoke. I'm not a history expert, but I do know, you know, those dates and whatnot. But anyway, I digress.
Your students will be glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is he's been funded by Harvey Weinstein his whole career. Quentin Tarantino has.
Yeah.
So now there is a bidding war to who's going to do Tarantino's last 2 films. You got WB, Paramount, and Sony trying to get the rights to this screenplay. Mm-hmm. And he was able to get out of the Weinstein stuff just because of all the stuff that went down. But apparently there's going to be a big focus on Charles Manson in this film. Mm-hmm. Margot Robbie supposedly is going to play the most famous Manson victim, Sharon Tate.
Oh, okay.
I think she was engaged to...
I thought she was going to be one of the followers.
No. Okay. She was engaged to the Folgers guy, who was going to inherit the $1 billion coffee empire. Coffee makes a lot of money, guys. But anyway... Okay. A lot of Charles Manson stuff here recently. American Horror Story Cult's dealing with Charles Manson.
Oh, okay.
You have this. What else were we watching that was talking Manson the other day? Abby and I can't remember, but there was something else. Okay, I promise there was.
Okay, sure.
Are you guys?
Was it her podcast that she's listening to?
It may have been. That may have been it. Yeah. Are you guys excited about this because of the premise, or just because it's the next Tarantino film,
or at all?
Or at all, Kate?
I mean, I like several of his films. I never cared for Kill Bill or anything like that. So I'm kind of indifferent.
What's your favorite Tarantino movie?
Probably Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, good pick.
Because it's good. Yeah. Nice. I guess the thing is just that I will see it. I'm just one of those people. If it comes out, I will see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like murder. I know that's a really bold thing for me to say.
Anti-murder, just to put on the record.
I don't like murder.
You're hired for the podcast. That was the only requirement is you don't like murder.
Our last guy loved murder.
Yeah. I don't like following murderers. I haven't watched any of those serial shows. I'm sure I wouldn't enjoy your wife's podcast that she listens to, but
Serial's a good podcast.
I will watch it.
Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited because it's Tarantino. Don't really care about Charles Manson at all. It's not like a thing. It's not a thing that does anything for me one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not super interested in all the Charles Manson stuff, but I'm not, I'm not tired of it or appalled or whatever, from
You're not going to be getting the Charles Manson Funko Pop, though. Do you think they ever would?
No, I'm sorry. What? Let the silence sit. Let the silence sit.
I'm serious. Like, there are people who are fans of Manson.
I don't imagine so. Like,
how would that go?
There are people that are defending Kevin Spacey. I don't see them making a Funko Pop for him right now.
Yeah.
Or Charles Manson ever. If Charles Manson was a fictional killer, perhaps.
I think so. There's probably people out there that think he's a fictional killer, though.
I'm sure there are.
Oh God,
I'm serious.
Oh no.
Here's what I wonder. If a lot of this has to do, this is current, it's in the zeitgeist, if you will, right now. But if you went up to 10 random people and you ask them, which one of these people do you feel more strongly as far as negative feelings toward Kevin Spacey or Charles Manson? I wonder what the answer would be.
I would think
here.
I would think Charles Manson.
I really wonder that.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like
I know that sounds crazy. I get it.
See, I don't know because I'm just in my little own entertainment bubble and stuff. Like, I don't know if I went and asked my parents, like, what do you think about what Kevin Spacey did? If they'd be like, what Kevin Spacey did?
Oh, that was national news, man.
Was it?
It was on Morning Joe, CNN. It was on. It was everywhere. I mean, the Times, the Post. Okay. It was. Yeah, they know about it.
Well, I don't know. Well, then I don't know. But Charles Manson's Charles Manson. If people who kind of grew up during that time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So scary as hell. Look at the guy's eyes. There's nothing there. It's like Michael Myers. But as a film geek, Tarantino, you have to go see the last two movies in his filmography.
I'm definitely a lot more excited about Tarantino doing a possible Charles Manson film than I would be for Rob Zombie doing one. That's for sure. Just imagine that for a moment.
I can imagine that. Yeah. Rob Zombie, a big Charles Manson fan, he modeled his whole look after him. they do look a lot. If you look at young Manson and Zombie, they do look alike. But
I'll Google that later.
Okay, speaking of nice long hair, let's go from Charles Manson to our review of Thor Ragnarok.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you. Where are we? You have no idea. Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard.
Oh, I've missed this.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
As always, before we get started, let's get into a few stats for Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, boy.
Thor Ragnarok was directed by Taika Waititi, who is known for directing smaller comedic films such as Hunt for the Wilder People and We Live in the Shadows. It was produced, of course, by the great Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel Studios on behalf of Disney. This film stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hiddleston, Cate Blanchett, Idris Elba, Tessa Thompson, Anthony Hopkins, the one, the only Jeff Goldblum, and Carl Urban. Has a running time of 120 minutes, a budget of $180 million. It raked in $122.7 million in its opening weekend, and it has a grand total of $502 million worldwide. At this point, it sits at 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Okay, I've been waiting to review this for a while. I saw it a weekend, I believe, after you two did, because I had my grandmother's big 80th birthday bash.
Congratulations.
That was wild. Kate, as far as the first two Thor films, what are your thoughts on them? Did you enjoy them?
I really enjoyed the first one, and I completely forgot the second one. Going into this movie, I had no idea where we left off at all.
Yeah.
You forgot about Malekith the Cursed, the Dark Elf, the Ether?
I forgot my favorite dude was supposed to be, like, dead.
Loki, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a wink, wink, nod, nod. Remember, I think it's one of the post-credit scenes.
It is.
Yeah.
You fell asleep in Thor: The Dark World. Remember that?
I did.
It must have been really dark.
Yeah. Wow. We'll just edit that out.
No, we won't.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, it wasn't necessarily that, like, it was so boring. It was actually pretty early on. I don't know. I was just super tired. Fell asleep during, like, the opening fight scene during that movie.
It looked very Star Wars prequel-esque, the way that a lot of the fighting in Asgard was done in that film. The movie it's good, but compared to other Marvel movies, the second one, I really like the first one. I'm with Kate. When I first saw the first one, I was more like, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Up on revisiting it, and especially after you see Loki and the Avengers, and you go back and watch it, it's a much better film.
Yeah, I like it. It was. I think for me too, Thor's had never been one of these Marvel heroes that I really cared about in any way, shape, or form. So I guess I had maybe the lowest standards going into that movie, I guess. I don't know. But it was the first one was definitely a nice surprise for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Planet Hulk. A lot of this is loosely based on the Greg Pak comic book run Planet Hulk, which was followed by World War Hulk, Sakaar, The Great Cord, which we're going to talk about, Meek, all of these pulled from Planet Hulk, the Gladiator Hulk. I know you haven't, Andrew, read Planet Hulk. Have you read Planet Hulk?
No, but I feel I need to now.
You need to. It's one of the best Hulk stories, especially following it up with World War Hulk. That was when I was really getting in the comics big time. That was the first Hulk story that I really felt emotionally invested in. I've been wanting to see this movie for a long time.
We all remember our first Hulk story that made us emotionally invested.
Yeah. TheEpicReview.com, one of the most successful articles on that historic website, THEpicReview.com, where you can find this podcast, there was a rumor way back when the MCU was first getting going, like I think this was around Iron Man 2, so it had been going, but before Avengers, there was a rumor of a Planet Hulk movie.
Right.
And we discussed it. We did a little write-up on it. I mean, it got thousands of hits, which was very impressive for us. So, I mean, this is something I've been wanting to see. We kind of see it here, but not really. So I think that this is definitely as close as we're ever going to get. So we're going to start out spoiler-free, as we always do. Kate, what were your initial impressions of Thor Ragnarok?
Actually having watched it, or just going into it with the previews and everything prior?
Having watched it. Like, when you walked out of the theater, what were you feeling?
Like I had just seen a good movie. Just something. No, like seriously, just something that was fun. It was well put together. It had enough humor. I mean, of course, like anything, I had some small issues with it, but I really enjoyed it.
It is a comedy. I mean, it's an action comedy, but it's a comedy.
I mean, are we just doing straight comedies now with Marvel?
That's what I'm wondering, and that's something I want.
So.
I mean, Black Panther doesn't look like a comedy.
Not at all.
I imagine Infinity Wars will probably have some of that Avengers humor, but will be a bit darker. But
you would hope so.
I mean, after Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and now this,
Spider-Man: Homecoming is not a comedy.
It's just Spider-Man. No, it's just Spider-Man.
He's
I mean, I'm fine with. I mean, I'm there with you, but it's like I'm hard pressed to say it's not. I would say it's at least an action comedy. It's like nonstop jokes in Spider-Man: Homecoming, which isn't a bad thing. This is not a criticism, because I love like the two Guardians films are some of my favorite ones. The first Avengers, which is kind of goofier, is one of my favorite ones. So this isn't a criticism. I'm just saying, like, are we like it's almost like Marvel is making straight comedies with these last few ones.
They have an ability, unlike any other studio. I know it's Disney, but Marvel Studios within Disney, they have an ability to they keep the stakes, they keep you invested in what's going to happen, but they can hit you with nonstop jokes. Like, this is usually something, you know me, Andrew, it would take me out of the movie. But I think after the whole Galaga scene in Avengers, which we've talked about many times on this podcast, I had to learn to accept what this universe is.
Right.
This isn't going to be shot-for-shot remakes of the comics I read from 2007 to 2013. It's just not going to be that. It's going to be loose adaptation, like with Planet Hulk, like we just mentioned. But and they make it work. And like you said, they can flip a switch and they can go to Infinity War now. And nobody's going to have a problem with that because it, for whatever reason, I mean, for many reasons, but it just works. And I don't know if any other studio or geek property can, they can't have a misstep right now. Their worst movies, like Thor: The Dark World, may be their worst movie. Yeah. It's still good. Yeah. Like, it's not piece of crap movie. I mean, right. But do you feel these movies are getting too comedic, Kate?
I really don't. There were some aspects of this that I thought, you know, would the God of Thunder really talk like that? But after being on Earth for a while, why not?
That is a plausible excuse. He doesn't come out talking like that in the first Thor movie. He talks, you know, very thee, thou, all that kind of stuff. So I think that gives a pass on the way he talks. But I mean, he is straight up telling jokes here. And there are a lot of diehard Thor fans who are very upset about something I can't talk about now. I want to talk about it in spoilers. Okay. And I understand that, kind of like how I was upset with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. God, I was so upset in that podcast. But what did you think, Andrew, about the aesthetic of this film? It has a different... I mean, I know it's kind of Guardians. It definitely is. It borrows from that.
Some Guardians and something else. I mean, there was... like some of these like flashback scenes were very cool with like the Valkyrie and stuff. Like some of the Valkyries, I guess. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, but it does feel Guardians-esque. I mean, it's a different realm than a lot of the other Marvel Earth-based, New York-based, you know, films or whatever, and it definitely looks that way. So it works for sure.
What'd you think, Kate?
Sorry. I was just thinking, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to talk about the specific thing I was thinking, but as far as just the feel, kind of reminded me a lot of Borderlands.
Really?
Just kind of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of cartoony. Yeah. It had like a, I don't know. For me, this movie had a distinct comic book feel.
I'm glad you said that because, and I hate to interject here, but
no, you don't.
This is the perfect time. I was going to mention they were going for a very Jack Kirby aesthetic, and Jack Kirby was the first to make the atmospheres in a comic book panel come to life. A lot of just like gas, or well, not gas, but stuff coming from the surface, just the way he did stars. He did a lot of the galactic elements of comic books, and I think they captured a lot of this in Thor Ragnarok. But there wasn't a bad character in this film. No. I cannot think of one. I mean, every character was enjoyable at some level. Sure. You didn't have to worry about character development because the consequential characters had been developed. Yeah. We know Loki, we know Thor, we know Odin. And I think that gives them kind of a little bit of a pass to just going back to our original thing, full throttle on the comedy and catapult you right into the story, which I think makes this movie so good. This couldn't have been in phase 1 or early phase 2 of Marvel. It wouldn't have worked. Yeah. But now it can work. So how'd you feel about that, Andrew? The characters overall, we can talk about specifics, but...
Well, we can go, when we get into spoils, we can talk about specifics.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil any of
this
stuff.
But I mean, it's like you said, I mean, this is the third one in the franchise, so we know a lot of these, a lot of the bigger players, not necessarily all of them, but a lot of them. And so, like you said, it just allows us to go right into things and do new things with them.
There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about here, and even some of the stuff that I had written down in show notes in the non-spoiler section, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Right. So, before we roll the reel forward to spoilers here, obviously we all recommend this film, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, you've already seen it probably. We're late on this podcast, but hell, by God, we're going to do this podcast. But go see it if you hadn't. Go add to the 502 million, probably more than that now. It's made at the worldwide box office. And we're going to dive much deeper into Sakaar as we roll the reel forward to spoilers. So let's dive deeper into some of these characters. I'm going to start with my new favorite character of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Executioner or whatever his name was.
No.
Okay.
It is Korg, who is played by director Taika Waititi, who's in a mocap suit here.
I had no idea.
Yeah, Taika is from New Zealand, and you definitely get that kind of New Zealand accent from Korg in this film. I just loved it. Absolutely adored it. And Abby loved him. I mean, he had me, it's deadpan humor, had me rolling at every turn. That scene at the end, after we're in spoilers now, when Asgard's destroyed, and he's like, the Foundation can be saved. I know it can. And then it's like, never mind. It's just so good. I even had to go buy
where he's carrying around the dead body that wasn't dead.
Yeah, Meek, who that character's in Planet Hulk too. That was hilarious. He's like, Meek, where do you want to go? Like, oh, he's been dead for, a day or something.
I stepped on him or something?
Yeah.
Stepped on him.
And that character is, I don't...
And that character's dead now. Thanos has killed him.
If Thanos kills Korg, they cannot... I want to see a Korg sitcom. Netflix series.
On Earth. I want to see him on Earth.
6 episodes, yeah. He gets flung to Earth after Thanos attacks, and then we see a Korg.
It's going to be like him. It's going to be like Rito Repulso and Goldar when they lost their memories.
Yeah.
And they were on Earth.
That's Doug. That's new Doug. Because Doug's dead. I could talk about Korg this whole podcast probably. Did you guys enjoy the...
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I spent the whole movie not knowing what his name was. They said it so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remembered his name just from Planet Hulk. But here's what's weird. Abby had never seen Guardians 2.
That's weird.
So we watched it like the Sunday night. We saw Thor that Saturday. And
have you both seen Doctor Strange now?
Yeah, we have. Oh my God, that movie was a nightmare. We actually
really?
watched it on... No, I mean, it's a okay movie, but you know our story.
Oh, you're trying to watch it,
yeah. One time, one of our friends had a heart attack. The other time, our alarm went off because the dogs broke glass at the house. And I was like, I just can't watch this movie. And finally, when it came to Netflix, we watched, and it's good. I mean, I don't think it's anything great, but we were watching Guardians 2, and there's a scene... Slight spoilers for Guardians 2 here. When Rocket and blue guy, I'm blanking on his name.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Mary Poppins. When Rocket and Mary Poppins, Yondu, when they jump through hyperspace, you see 2 of these rock warriors fighting, and I'm wondering if one of them is Korg. I was like, holy shit, that's Korg right there. And Abby's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. So
that's some Pixar level stuff.
I kept rewinding it, and I was like, well, it's one. What do they call them? I forgot what. It reminds me of Granitor or whatever on Ninja Turtles, the rock guy in season 1.
I remember the rock soldiers from like Dimension X.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
What's his name? General Slag or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Trag or something. Anyway. All right. So enough about Korg. He's delightful. Let's talk about the film's villain. Cate Blanchett as Hela. It's been a long joke on this podcast that we labeled her a bad villain when we did our MCU villains discussion.
Okay, I will add that okay, whatever.
Well, I mean, you said, has she been in a movie before?
Exactly, because I knew she was a Thor villain, and I knew, like, I just didn't, I was like, I don't recall, I figured she was just like a throwaway character in one of these Thor movies, and I just forgot that she was even in it.
And it was like,
you're the one that made the list, buddy.
Who the hell's Hela? And, well, she hadn't been in a movie yet, but Cate Blanchett as Hela. Kate, what did you think about her performance in this character as a whole?
I thought it was good. It's not a character I was familiar with prior. I wouldn't have known that there was some spare sister out there doing evil stuff.
In the comics, she's not a spare sister. She's just the goddess of death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought she did a very good job. I hated her stupid hat, but that's not important.
I didn't like it either. I loved it when her hair was down. I liked that a lot better.
Well, I think it was more just that the hat kept changing, which I think was probably to signify the different stages of her, I'm about to really mess stuff up. But, I mean, if you watch it, she doesn't have eyeliner underneath it. It doesn't cover her full face. And then it's like huge. I just hated that part. But I thought she did a very good job.
Yeah, she's a great actress. I mean, I loved her. Thought she was one of the best MCU villains. I love the making her the third sister, and when she basically reveals the mural or whatever of how Asgard was really built, and the line of how do you think Asgard got all of its gold. I'm stealing this from Devendra Hardawar over at Slash Film, who said this was a story of colonization. They went and took over these places and pillaged them, and Asgard became the rim of the 9 realms, right? The protector of the 9 realms. Almost like America, the protector of the world, after they slaughtered a bunch of Native Americans and did all kinds of terrible stuff. But I digress.
He hates America.
Andrew Stokes, you look like you did not enjoy Hela.
No, I did not enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed her. I'm not sure I'd call her the greatest Marvel villain.
I didn't say that.
I also did not agree with that statement.
I'm pretty sure you just did say that.
I didn't say she's the greatest.
He did say one of.
Okay,
I said one of the greatest MCU villains.
I mean, I feel like after Vulture and Ego, maybe she's a little bit of a step back. Because I mean, she was just kind of, she felt kind of like, I'm just the bad guy here to do the bad things. Yeah. Like, I mean, there was some motivation.
Well, that's what she was. She was the bad guy, but the villain, the protagonist.
But Ego, I feel like, had some more stuff going on. Vulture he was sympathetic even. You know what I mean? And she was cool and interesting.
Vulture's the second best villain in the MCU behind Loki. I really think that
Loki's good, probably just because of the development he's had.
Yeah.
If Thor won by itself, he'd be one of the better ones. But I mean, and if we're allowed to include like Netflix series and stuff, it's like Kingpin and what's his face, a Purple Man. But that's what he's called. But I mean, Hela's not bad. Her story also in this movie. Thor spent so much time on Sakaar,
Sakaar.
That like she's just kind of, we could just like, let's see what Hela's up to, and like cut back, and now she's defeated this group, and now she's defeated that group, and it's just it felt a little detached a little bit almost. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Thor had to build himself back up after he loses Mjolnir.
Sure,
I mean, which that was an awesome scene where she crushes the hammer.
Yeah, she's cool. She's definitely not a bad villain. I'm not sure I consider her one of the greatest ones.
I'm just going to compare her real quick to somebody like James Spader as Ultron.
Yeah.
Much better than Ultron, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked her,
Yeah, I mean, so, like, if you were making a top 10 villains, she's not cracking top 5, probably. But if you made top 10, and as we saw when we made that list, there's been a ton of MCU villains. She's making top 10.
Okay.
We'll have to do that. I'll have to do that.
Yeah, you do that.
See if that works.
I do have a feeling she'll make your top 10. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked her wolf too. What was his name? Venus or Furnace or I don't know.
Fenris?
Something like
Fenrir?
Is that it?
I don't. It feels right.
He's from the comic books too, but I couldn't.
I liked her
remember his name.
Just to.
Oh, you okay?
I like whenever she's interviewing, she's talking to Scourge, and she's like, "What do you see yourself as?" Executioner, not just to execute people. Like, do you mean executing plan? I don't know. I thought they had a good back and forth. I mean, it was generic, a henchman to,
now,
superior
Scourge
villain.
I can get behind, though.
What?
I enjoyed Scourge. He might have been the best part of her villain rise.
Let me ask you this. This is something that's come up on a couple Thor Ragnarok reviews that I've listened to. Did you have a problem with how they almost glorified the automatic rifles he was using when he does the whole Texas line? And then he kind of comes to the rescue at the end, just guns a-blazing, right? As they're trying to escape Asgard. There's people that's like, distasteful after 2 mass shootings. Of course, they didn't know there was going to be 2 mass shootings.
I mean...
Sorry. Go ahead, Ken.
Iron Man is a weapon. Iron Man's a fancy gun. Like,
but it doesn't.
Like,
people aren't killing 60 people with Iron Man suits.
I
There is a
think-
difference there.
Sure.
Well, somebody decided to. I mean, Ultron decided to kill a bunch of people with.
Well, he's
I
my
mean,
real
real
life.
I know
life.
what you mean. I'm just saying.
Okay.
No, I don't. And the reason I don't is because I'm going to look at it from his perspective. This is a man who really enjoyed the perks he was getting of his job. Those were the two things he was most proud of. He went through this whole character development where he realized what he was doing was wrong. He had to do the right thing, and in the middle of trying to flee, changed his mind, took something that was important to him, that signified his status as an individual, and used it to do the right thing. I mean, he wasted the thing that he held dear. That's how I would see it.
Yeah.
You can say that it's not good to hold weapons dear, but I think it's just part of his character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any sort of like political statement. At least
No,
that
I
I
don't
caught.
think there is either. It was almost like
Even though,
something you like to say too soon.
yeah, who was it that tried to? Was it Marvel that was doing that promotional thing with
they
that
were the
weapons
one that was
company?
having a NRA comic book or something.
No. There was somebody, one of these weapons manufacturers, who was doing some sort of cross promotion with.
It was Marvel.
It was Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is that what that was talked about?
That quit. That quickly went away.
Yeah, they killed that off. All right. Thoughts on Hulk in this film? Because you see Banner, you see Hulk, but you see a lot more Hulk than Banner for the first time. I enjoyed this. It is kind of off-putting to see him stay as the Hulk after the big Thor and Hulk. Like, you have to get used to it, I think. I don't know if I'd say it's jarring, but like I say, you have to make an adjustment.
But you do have to get used to it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think, Andrew, about it?
I mean, I liked him. I thought it was cool. It was nice to be able to see a new take on this character, I guess. You know what I mean?
Hulk's penis, but okay.
Okay, I don't think we saw that, but okay.
That was funny.
I would have remembered that.
Block that out of my memory for some reason.
Thor's going to remember it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was nice to see. It was nice to see both Hulk and Bruce Banner both doing new things, and it was, I don't know, Hulk, I know, is eventually always gets there where he's a little bit more in control of himself and whatnot. So I don't know, it was just cool to see a different Hulk, and of course it led to some like really funny scenes between him and Thor.
Yeah, I like the stuff when he was Banner, though, when they're on the ship trying to escape Sakaar and all that stuff. Kate, did the Thor Hulk battle that was, I mean, this is what the trailers revolved around, did it live up to the hype for you?
Yes. Yeah, I would say that was the best fight scene in my opinion, because it was
Ever in the MCU.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't want to get yelled at here, but I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was well choreographed. I mean, it's not like they were really duking it out with this really big dude or anything, but I thought it looked convincing enough, and I don't know. I just thought it was good.
Yeah, there was a lot of other stuff going on too, like Loki up in the stands watching and that kind of stuff. So
that point where Hulk picks up Thor and does the whole puny god bit to him, and Loki's like, yes, that's how it feels. Oh man, that was fun.
The whole theater was roaring.
Mine too, and it's like, this is how much history the MCU has built up with people. Everybody in that theater, especially on opening weekend, they remember that part from Avengers. That's what's crazy to me about these movies. These movies are huge,
and we're still waiting for Avatar 2.
Yes, we are.
Some of you might be.
I'm not. I hate Avatar.
In general sense.
Which one are we talking about? I didn't like either. We'll just throw that out there.
We're talking about the blue Avatar, not
the blue Avatar, not the last Airbender.
Not the Airbender.
Well, I thought they were both.
Avatar. I know Jeff Goldblum, the Grandmaster. This is something, Kate, that you were excited to talk about. What were your thoughts?
Okay. They're doing the whole build up to him, and they're going through the sequence when Thor is, strapped to the chair and he's going through the tunnel. They started playing the World of Imagination song, which I don't know if y'all recognize.
Willy Wonka?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm getting this whole Willy Wonka vibe while he goes through this psychedelic tunnel to come out to this man who now has been set for my expectation to be a version of a Willy Wonka type. And I think he nailed it.
Mm-hmm. He was Goldblum. I mean, I remember, I can't remember the line in particular, but he was like, when I came here, I was, 60, or now I'm He never said his age. They just let the camera. I mean, that's classic Goldblum. I can't wait to see him as Ian Malcolm again in Jurassic World. I've heard it's a small bit though. It's not going to be like this big part, but still something you never thought you'd see.
Yeah,
you're a big Goldblum fan too, Andrew. What'd you think?
I thought he was great. He was. I liked him better than Hela. And I
figured you would.
I almost wish he was like that. It was all about him. The whole movie was just about him and them escaping Sakaar.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would have been great.
I think he was used just enough.
Sure. I mean, they could have overdone it. I get you, but I mean, I don't know. I think it could have been different too, though. He could have been more menacing than just the escape that happened at the end, and then the whole Revolution storyline could have maybe meant a little bit more as far as the overall plot of the movie.
With the thing where they mentioned slaves, and he's like, the slaves have escaped and she used some other word. She's like, I don't like that word. Don't say that word. I mean, that was improvised.
Unemployed, something like that.
Yeah, I forgot what it was.
Workers or something, yeah.
Like, that was improvised by Goldblum. Half this stuff was improv. I mean, it was just, it was glorious, man. I loved him. I think we'll see him again at one point in the MCU. A cameo, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think at one point down the line, we'll hopefully see, the death stick. That was... when his minion hands him the death stick, it's like, no, I don't need the death stick right now. And it's crazy how when Marvel's going full comedy, but God, they're going with the best.
Yeah.
They're going with Jeff freaking Goldblum. It's not like they're, throwing in past his prime Adam Sandler, who I love a lot of Adam Sandler movies, but at this point,
You don't want to see Adam Sandler in the MCU?
Oh God, you just made me ill.
I really don't want to, but if Marvel did it, if they made that decision, I would like, well, they hadn't screwed up yet.
If Marvel did it, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I guess
so. If DC did it, we'd be like, what the?
Adam Sandler is Nightwing.
Yeah, that would be something to see. But anyway, Tessa Thompson is Valkyrie. Tessa Thompson, I know her from Creed. She was the love interest in Creed. That's the only thing I've really seen her in. I know she's been in some smaller roles here and there, but she's a Valkyrie, which is, the defenders, the protectors of...
The Valkyrie, apparently.
Yeah, I guess she is the one, but she was great. To me, she is almost the perfect companion for Thor, even more than Jane Foster, but maybe she's too perfect. But the thing is that if you remember her friend who got killed, one of the other Valkyries jumped in front of it. Apparently she's gay, and that was her love interest. From what I've heard, and I don't know if it was Feige or Taika Waititi, one of them confirmed that.
Okay.
So I don't know if
I did get that vibe.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I mean, it wasn't like overt or anything, but did you like her, Kate?
I did. I really appreciated the friendship that they showed between her and the Hulk. Just, what did he keep calling her, little girl or something? I just thought it was really cute. Yeah. It did bring up problems, though, later, and I'm sure you wanted to talk about this with what happens between her and Hulk before he goes down to fight the wolf and whatever. Or, her and Banner. But I felt like
that scene.
I didn't either, and part of the reason I didn't like it was because they had built up such a good relationship. The scene where Banner decides that he is going to basically sacrifice his life.
Yes, he says, "I may never come back."
Right,
as Banner. That's established.
There are a couple scenes, and that's specifically one that I remember. There, like, as funny as this movie is and that works, there are a couple scenes where it's like, I wish you would have done this seriously, and that's 100% one of them. Where Banner is like, okay, I may never be Bruce Banner again. And it's just a completely comedic scene.
This scene.
People laugh,
and it was a funny scene. But it was
no.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was wasted potential, but I thought it was like funny. But it was also cliche. Like it's like you kind of saw that coming. I'm like, they're not going to have him just fall flat. Yep, okay, he is. Okay, great.
The laugh wasn't worth sacrificing the character moment.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
And it's like oh my gosh, this is going to be awesome. Hulk's gonna, and he's done this before. Obviously, it's like the scene. When Hulk catches Iron Man in the Avengers, you're like, oh shit! Like I was waiting for something like that again, and I didn't predict it. Like I thought surely they wouldn't do that, but they did, and I was like,
I saw it coming.
That's when
and
you
I thought,
confirm this is a comedy. I didn't like. I mean, that's a nitpick on this movie, and otherwise,
I think it's a pretty big nitpick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There was one other scene too like that. I really wish I could remember what it was. I think it was back on Sakaar, where it's like this really should have been done seriously, and they played it up for laughs. I can't remember what it was though.
Let's go back to the Asgard stuff.
Okay.
Asgard destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. I mean, as much as you want to say this film is a comedy and it isn't maybe the most consequential of the Marvel films.
There's a lot at stake during this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that they destroyed a place like Asgard, I mean, that's going to have repercussions down the line.
Yeah.
So, were y'all surprised by that? Andrew?
I mean, it's called Thor Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah,
I was surprised, that they actually destroyed Asgard. But, I mean, I feel like Asgard's one of these magical kind of places where maybe it'll just come back
not
somehow.
A place.
Especially, yeah, that's true. But especially, we're getting into all this Infinity Stones stuff, Infinity Gems, whatever they're called. And it's like, I mean, I know some of like the massive power that some of these items have. It's like, is anything permanent that we're seeing right now? You know what I mean? Like if somebody dies in Infinity War, they're just going to come back
in time,
right? So it's like, I mean, it still was surprising. Yeah, I liked how they brought back the whatever the guy's name was, the big monster defeated at the beginning,
Thor or whatever,
something like that. Yeah, I like how they brought him back as like this. Okay, well, we can't defeat her, so we're just gonna like burn it all to the ground, basically. Like it was cool.
Again, another comedic Hulk moment, though. It's like, you think Hulk's going to fight him, which was a big thing in one of the trailers or TV spots or something. I can't remember, which I know you didn't watch, Andrew.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, man, I would have liked to have seen him try to punch this big fire god, at least for a second.
To fight him, yeah.
I mean, but no, they're like, no, don't fight him. I mean, he did fight a giant wolf, though. I mean, that was pretty badass. What more do you want, right?
Yeah. I mean, I do like, too, because even though I don't think Hela maybe is the biggest departure of Marvel villains, but like the way they defeated her isn't necessarily classic. You know what I mean? With Doctor Strange, I think he outsmarted the villain in that movie. Spoilers for Doctor Strange. And in this movie, it's kind of like it's something different. They can't really beat the villain. They figured out, we can't beat her, so let's we'll just escape and ruin the thing that she's after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a unique thing. It was something new to see in one of these Marvel movies, I feel like.
What'd you think of the Doctor Strange cameo, Kate? Did you like it?
I don't know.
Sounds like a no,
right?
Yeah, no, it was so good. I don't know. I didn't enjoy Doctor Strange maybe as much as some did. I appreciated it, but I also don't really care for that actor, so it was fine. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It's clever, I like the stuff with Loki falling. I've been following for 30 minutes. I like how he's, filling Thor's beer up.
Yeah.
Had they shown Doctor Strange in a trailer or anything?
Yes.
See, I had forgotten that. So I wasn't like surprised, like shocked, but I was like, oh man, I forgot he was in this. That's
right, same
cool.
thing. I knew he was in it, but I had forgotten he was in it. So
yeah, I liked it again. You always remember that this is all connected, right?
Yeah.
So
I liked it. I thought it was a funny little scene.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Kate.
With everything being connected, you see Loki pass the Tesseract, and my first thought is, oh, he's going to do the right thing, but he's totally taking that too.
Yeah.
He gives that to Thanos.
Oh, no, there's no way he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it was implied, but I'm like 99.100% sure that he's going to give the Cosmic Cube Tesseract in this Marvel movie universe to Thanos. But, it'll be interesting to see why he took it. I think he kind of...
Because he's Loki, that's why.
No. Loki always has a motivation, right? So did he take it because, he wants to alter, have this great power again like he did in the Avengers? I think no, he knows he screwed up one time, didn't get the mission accomplished for Thanos. So this is almost going to be here, can you spare me? I think Loki's going to get killed at the beginning of Infinity War.
Don't say that!
Do you think he's the reason that Thanos' ship is there? That he called Thanos there?
That's a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Korg's going to be dying at the beginning of Avengers.
I hope not.
Better him.
I think Loki's more likely to die than Korg.
I think Loki will die sometime during this.
Because
I think
real die.
I think they may redeem.
Just to clarify.
he might do some sort of redemption death with Loki.
But this character, I love Loki. I mean, he's one of the best movie villains of the past decade. But at the same time, the character's run its course. I mean, he was great in Avengers, great in 3 Thor movies. I mean, what more do you want for him? He's semi-redeemed. You know, I mean, that Tom Hiddleston's still going to be out there making movies. I mean,
not good ones.
What was the name of that horror
Scarlet
movie?
Hill or something? Crimson Hill?
Yeah, Crimson
It was
Peak.
so
Crimson
bad.
Peak. It was okay.
No,
I haven't seen it.
I'm sorry. It was awful. I hated it.
It was slow. It was very slow. There's some cool stuff with Heimdall in this movie, how he was kind of moving the refugees out of harm's way and whatnot.
Killed the Warriors 3.
That is what I wanted to talk about, because these, to Thor fans, these are big characters.
Yeah.
These are core elements of the Thor mythos.
It's like the Howling Commandos or something, the Captain America.
And Lady Sif is not there.
Lady Sif's not even in this movie.
But the other, I forgot.
Make room for Valkyrie, but maybe not, because she's a lesbian?
What?
I'm sorry.
I mean,
what the hell did you say?
I assumed they're just gonna write her off or something, because
You mean Sif or Valkyrie is
write off Sif to make
okay.
room for Valkyrie. But then if Valkyrie's not the actual love interest, you know what I mean?
Sif is in the girl that plays her is in some TV show. I don't know what it is. So that they wanted to have her, from my understanding, they wanted to have her there to get killed, but she just couldn't be there. And they didn't want to just insert generic actress in the kill.
That's the best move she's made for her career. Because she'll be in Thor 4. The Sif's Revenge.
This is the Revenge of the Sith. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
She beat me to it, but I will say that this is the equivalent to me of like the whole Mandarin turn in Iron Man, because Mandarin's like the arch villain of Iron Man. Then you find out that this character they built up is, a fake, a fraud, and they kill these 3. It's not that they kill them. It's that boom, 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 they're dead.
It's so inconsequential almost.
Yeah.
At least 2 of them. Yeah.
And I was listening to an interview on Empire Film Podcast with Taika Waititi, and he said, that was my choice. He's like, out with the old, in with the new. I didn't want to deal with them.
I mean,
at
the same time, it does kind of show Hela's power as well. It's a good, this is how strong she is. That these, strong allies of Thor just, boom, just killed off in an instant. So it serves some sort of purpose other than it's not like just a middle finger to the fans, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
let's go ahead and give our ratings on Thor Ragnarok. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up from the film? I will say this, supposedly from what I read, is the beginning of obviously a 3-arc story for Hulk, which it's not going to be standalone, but
throughout these other films, Infinity War and whatever else, Spider-Man: Homecoming 2.
Yeah. Hulk kills Spider-Man, but
it could be Bruce. I mean, Hulk and Spider-Man have, he's got this little thing.
Yeah,
going
that
on
would
something.
be cool.
And then Bruce Banner would be great for Peter Parker if Tony Stark's not around or something. So.
Oh, that's something I hadn't thought about.
Kate, what would you rate Thor Ragnarok?
Go somebody else first.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like, I don't know. What am I rating this?
All right, Andrew, what about you?
Oh, God. Great.
I'm going to go great and a half. It was so enjoyable. But
they for me too.
They went just over the line with the comedy. I think if that whole Banner scene, that epic hero moment ruined by comedy there, that knocked it back a half a point for me. So I'm gonna go great and a half. What about you, Kate?
You're sitting in the theater minus 1/2 point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's got that grade book out. I would agree with that. I would probably say it was just great. I don't know if I'd even give it that extra half, because they really upset me with that whole Hulk.
I was debating that half. Then I thought, oh, Jeff Goldblum, he's worth that extra half in my book.
They made me pretty upset.
Yeah,
I'm going with great. I thought it was a great movie. I really did.
Yeah. So go see it. Obviously, if you've listened to this far into this podcast, you have.
Hopefully.
Thanks for joining us. I mean, looks like our audience was back for the last episode. So hopefully this is a lot better production and you enjoyed this podcast. I want to review Justice League next week. I know I'm going to see it Saturday or Sunday, one or the other. The Panthers don't play this Sunday. And
that's probably why they released it this week.
Perfect timing.
Yep.
And Jerry is adamant.
Who?
Jerry Barbecue 17
Never heard of him.
is going to be on this review, so it may be the original.
Don't promise. Don't tease him. Don't tease him unless you're for real.
It may be the Warriors 3 of me, you, and Jerry, unless Hela here kills us off and takes over
flattering.
the podcast. But no, I think we'll be able to work it in. So Justice League should be our next one. So look forward to episode 78 of the podcast. Where can people find more of you, Andrew Stokes?
You can follow me on Twitter at AKA Andrew Stokes, where I just retweet Brad, and that's basically it.
What about you, Kate? You're not.
I am
social
an
media,
imaginary friend. I do not exist.
Okay. You can find Kate at Who the Hell is Hela 17. Who the Hell is Hela 17? As for the podcast, you can find it at the GWW. Presented by the Geeks Worldwide Radio Network. Of course, at the Epic Review, thepicreview.com. Follow us on Instagram where we post epic geek imagery daily at Confirmed Epic Podcast. Twitter, follow me at The Real Brad Bell, DREEL Brad Bell. Make sure to check out Jerry's toy reviews, hot and fresh daily at actionfigurebarbecue.com. Thank you for listening from the Hollywood foothills of North Carolina. We are out.
That's all I have to say about that.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks Worldwide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks, assemble!